Hello, welcome to Good Games Well Played, episode 246. I'm Clint, aka JCM. With us this week is Isli
Yo.
and Masai.
Hello.
And we have quite the range of news this week. Some big things and some small things. We're going to head and start off with some PlayStation stuff. With that, PlayStation and Sony is increasing the prices of the PS5, PS5 Pro, and PlayStation Portal again.
Oh, man.
Jesus.
Yep.
Thanks, inflation.
I saw someone do a meme where it was from Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, where it was Miguel O'Hara, and it's him, and it's like me in 2021, and it's him smiling with his family saying, "I'll buy a PlayStation 5 when it's $300," and it goes to me in 2026, and it's like it just, you know, dark Miguel O'Hara, like just looking all depressed.
Dude,
Uh,
I mean, it's wild, but also, if I were Sony, I'd be doing the same thing right now. I can't even be mad about it. I'm just like, yep, yep.
I and now they do it slower than the competition. Like Microsoft doing it, like they've both done it over the course of generation. And I don't did the Switch never went up in price, right? Like at all.
They
They just
raised they raised the peripherals on the Switch drastically. So they
I
didn't
okay.
raise
Yeah,
the screen, but like extra controllers and games and things they all raised.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, 'cause I
And
was
like
trying to
I
remember.
think the docking station, they went like a little bit, I mean, not sneaky, but kind of like they just
Oh, they
made it,
did.
yeah.
They did. The Switch Lite went up $30. The original Switch went up 40, and the Switch OLED went up 50. That was in 2025, summer 2025. So they did go up. I guess I must have missed that.
Oh, that probably
Um,
explains because I wasn't paying attention to Switch prices in 2025.
exactly. Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, they PlayStation increased their costs from PS5 is now $650, the digital edition 600, and the Pro is $900. That's in the US,
Dear Lord.
which
We
which
The Pro
is
is $900. Dear fucking
insane.
Lord.
just buy a computer at that point. Shit.
Right? Well, even then, like with the price of RAM and GPU costs can still be pretty high. I watched LTT. They did they usually do every couple of years they'll like refresh their what they call budget, which for PC it kind of is like the $1,000 PC, like a good $1,000 PC. And they did a new one with how things are now. And it's like they had to use Intel instead. It's like a 3-year-old Intel CPU, and I think also the Intel graphics card because it's just like tough. But yeah, like even that market is rough to get into. But yeah, it's crazy because like it's not just obviously PlayStation; it's everybody who's raising their
I mean, it's
prices, which is such an insane.
not to get like too political, but it's like everybody and everything for obvious
Yes,
reasons. It just sucks.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it's crazy. In Australia, the PS5 now I don't know what the conversion rate is for to the dollar, but it's $1,400 for a PS5 Pro.
Jesus Christ.
Like
Yep.
that's just not even that's not even like this is definitely in the realm of just buy a PC. And I love consoles for the ease of everything, but I'm like, just buy a PC. I'm sure
Yeah,
that there are PC makers out there that make it simpler than or like similarly simple as like a console. Just buy a PC at that point.
well, I've seen I still even though I'm not in the market, I'll look and see like, "Oh, what are the PC deals now?" Especially once the GPU prices were insane, and then from all the crypto mining, and then once RAM prices got crazy because of AI, like, I'll look and see like, "Oh, what is considered a deal?" And then I'll look and I'll kinda compare to, like, what my deal was, especially from if it's from Lenovo, because that's, who made
Yeah.
my PC, and I'll look and I'm like, "Yeah, it's a deal, but it's like it's more still." Like, so it's like even the deals are up in price.
Yeah, but even when you consider like, okay, you pay $900 for a PlayStation, or you could spend a little bit more, like $1,200, and have a decent either PC or laptop that is multi-purpose and also access to the Steam library. So it's
Yeah.
like it's at the
For
point now where the difference in price, if you just pay, $200 to $300 more, which I know is like it's $200 to $300. Okay, I get it, but you're getting something with like I would say more value to it.
Yeah.
for me though, it was never about like it was part of it was the value, but a lot of it was like a console is cheaper and easier and
Mhm.
faster and just way less
Mhm.
hassle. Like you don't
Mhm.
generally have to worry about trying to get a game to work or doing anything like that. So for me, it's like as you approach PCs, which I acknowledge are obviously like more multi-purpose for many reasons, it's how much is that hassle worth for me? And we're definitely
Yeah.
reaching the point where I'm like, the hassle is becoming worth it to deal with it because it's not that big of a hassle. But when it's like previously, $1,000 difference. If a gaming PC was like $1,500 and a console was 500 for the $1,000, I'm like, yeah, I want the modular, easy to use, no hassle console that I just stick on my, shelf and it works. For if it's
Mhm.
like, $1,000 versus $1,200, don't know if I care that much anymore at that point.
Yeah,
Right.
and we're more obviously more tech savvy, but I think about like, obviously there's still a lot of, kids and younger you know, Gen X, no, Gen Z, sorry, Gen X is the other one. Gen Z that are like, they probably don't have the money to spend either direction. And it's like you said, yeah, it is the entry point of like it just works. Like because they like that's another thing I like when Linus Tech Tip does as well is they'll do like, let's see if we can make a PC at the same cost of an Xbox or PlayStation and then see how it performs. And it's like it obviously clearly is performance-wise not at all close. Um, but there's the like you said, there's those trade-offs of you have Steam and the Steam sales and all the other utility of the PC. But like you said, with the console, it's just like it just works. Yeah, it might have an update, but like it'll always work. You put it in the game, it works. There's no driver updates, there's no troubleshooting. Typically, for the most part, you won't have any big troubleshooting issues. Like I've had not a lot, but I had one recently with Terra Nil that I talked about before on the podcast where like, what the hell is causing this problem? Uh, you know, and trying to like dial in your settings. So if you have like an older graphics card, you're like, okay, I got to find the perfect dial in to get it to run. But yeah, I'm looking at it right now. Like a Walmart has a $1,700 computer that's that's the sale price. It's got a 5070. It's got 16 gigabytes of RAM, DDR5, and AMD 9700X CPU, and that's the deal price, which I have to assume that's pretty good now for an RTX
God,
5070.
even that's rough though. I'm like, yeah, I guess PCs are going up in price too. It's all just fucking expensive. It's insane.
Yeah,
This is like
yeah,
just buy a kid a Switch at this point. Get them like the Switch Lite or whatever version it is, because that's a fantastic console. Great. That's how you do it, actually.
yeah, yeah. I'm looking at this other one. Trying to look at the specs on this one here. Oh, that's an Intel processor though. I was gonna say it has this one from Best Buy also has a 5070 and it has 32 gigabytes of RAM, but the Intel CPUs, as far as gaming goes, AMD's been doing a lot better recently. But anyway, yeah, it's just like everything's up. But yeah, I saw it though. I was like, okay, it's great, and that goes into effect. I want to say April 2nd was the date that they listed as the go live for the quote necessary step to ensure we can continue delivering innovative, high quality gaming experiences to players worldwide. They say that as they also just quietly shut down a studio which I totally forgot they had. It was a small studio, Dark Outlaw. It was set up by the guy who created COD Zombies. I'm trying to remember his name here. But yeah, it was just like there's a rumor that they were gonna shut down this. It was a first party partner studio. So it was like, hey, we obviously make a deal with them, blah blah blah. But yeah, it was reported initially by Jason Schreier. It was founded by Jason Blundell, Dark Outlaw Games. Again, he created COD Zombies. They've been working kind of quietly. They have a small team. I want to say like 20 people. It wasn't a live service game. It was going to be like something small, but he can't talk about it. So obviously there's like which is weird to me because I'm like, okay, it was a partnership. It wasn't a Sony owned studio. It was like a first party partner kind of situation, but they can't talk about what they worked on. Like that's part of the NDA. Like it wasn't like, I guess that was the
Can you
deal. Like
imagine
Sony
applying for
owns
a
it.
new job? Like, what'd you work on? Can't tell you. What about your
Yeah.
experiences?
Can't
Can't
say.
tell you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What can you explain this 5-year gap? I was working on something, but I can't tell you.
It
It was
was,
big.
it was big. It was going to be the next
Yeah.
big thing.
Yeah, that's crazy. But yeah, but and I heard the rumors like, who is Dark Outlaw? And I forget when they announced this. It was in must have been a while ago, and we just either missed it or it was just a kind of a small blip. But yeah, it was like, okay, they shut down another one. I guess there you go, Sony. And then speaking of layoffs, Epic laid off 1,000 people.
This is like the third
Jeez.
round of layoffs Epic has had. Or like, is it even
Uh-huh.
more?
It's
And like
that's
massive
so much.
numbers too, not just like, a little bit here and there.
Like, do they
Yeah,
still exist? Is anyone left at Epic?
right?
I don't even know how many people they had issues because I know like the Harmonix group or whatever, like they let them go for as well. But yeah, I don't know how. I'm trying to see in this article if it lists how many people are left. Like since the announcement of this, like news has been coming out about people like, oh, I just found out apparently I was let go, or like especially key people in development for Fortnite are just gone. I'm like, "Oh, okay, and sure." And there's like a father who's like terminally ill now, doesn't have health insurance because of it. It's just like, what is going on, man? You guys gotta. This is insane. 1,000 employees, and it's like if now Epic's they do say like, oh, Fortnite is kind of not many people, fewer people are playing it. But I'm like, yeah, but the problem is also there's the other stuff that you do, like those years you spent trying to get the Epic Game Store running, and you just pay for these exclusivity deals. So you just throwing money at the wall, trying to get, essentially what Xbox was doing with, buying up studios so they could have games on the platform and then laying off all these studios. Is you're just spending money to try to get ahead, but the Epic Game Store never caught up to Steam. You just threw money at a problem you'd never solved. So it's like,
Mm-hmm.
there's that. And then when they're at their peak, they also did that thing, which was this was a good thing they did, but they like the rev share they made better for developers, for games that did sell on Epic Game Store. But again, you never caught up to Steam. And then also Unreal Engine tools and how they made it free for smaller devs until the game sold a certain minimum threshold. Then they'd be like, okay, now we get the percentage. But up to like I think it was like two. I'm just pulling this number out of nowhere, but for some reason it sticks in my head. But like $250,000, like you have to make over 250,000, then we'll start taking our percentage of revenue after that. For the game. So it's like it was incentivizing people to use their tool, and it was like all these really cool like developer incentives. But I feel like all that money you wasted trying to get the Epic Game Store up and running is like you just never got there, man. And
Mm-hmm.
you acquired Harmonix, you acquired more folks, you probably just spent too much money elsewhere, but 1,000 employees is insane. That's so many employees, man. Because it's not like if it was like, oh, Microsoft laid off 1,000 across all of Microsoft and like 20% was Xbox games. It's like, okay, that's a number I can kind of comprehend because Microsoft is huge. Epic is just Epic, man. You know what I mean? It's
Mm-hmm.
it's insane. I wish this article would list how many employees were left.
I
But
know. I
man,
feel like that's the missing piece of like, I'd love to know percentage what these are in each group, but obviously that's a little tricky.
yeah, it says here. Okay, concluding the message, Sweeney described. Okay, layoffs very painful. Blah, blah, blah. Epic has last held a major round of layoffs in 2023 when it made 830 staff redundant, around 16% of its workforce at the time. Following that, the company was believed to employ a little over 4,000 people, suggesting that today's layoff may have impacted a quarter of the company. So the estimates are they had 4,000 and they laid off 25%, which
I mean,
is
that's wild.
an insane amount of people for like now obviously that's every little part like again because they had harmonics. I think they bought like other little bits as well, but like that's so many people.
25% of your it- that okay. Uh, yeah.
Okay, now it's like that's a case of like okay you fucked up to where like you hired too many too fast, like
Mm-hmm.
and it's like it's not writing because it's not trying to right size the ship because the industry changes. No, this is fixing a problem you created thinking you needed more people than you technically did. Like, oh, we gotta really ramp up and stuff, blah blah blah. But it's like that's why you have, contract workers. It's like, okay, let's ramp up, but we'll do these temp hires to help us get, yada yada up and running. And then if we need them after the contract is up, we can hire them permanently. Don't just go on this giant spree. But
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I don't know, man. It just seems fucking insane. That's crazy. But yeah. But keeping it with going back to Sony real quick. So there are a lot of previews for kept on at least better news. Saros is coming out the end of April. So we're looking forward to that, of course. But there are a bunch of previews out there in the wild. I haven't been paying attention too much. I don't want to spoil myself on the game, and it's going to be like the first hour or whatever of game. And I'm like, okay, that's right. I don't need it. I'll learn it when I play it. But I saw that I guess Housemark had made Saros a little kinder in response to feedback from Returnal. Like it's still difficult, fun, like at its core, but they definitely eased it, which is what when I saw the gameplay reveal, and I'm sure you can concur with this as well, Isli, but like that shield that you get, I felt like, okay, this is like, the Elden Ring style of let's add a couple more mechanics to kind of help the players that need it, but the game is still going to be challenging. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like this is, I don't know. I didn't mind the difficulty of Returnal, and I would even go so far as to say that I don't think Returnal was terribly hard. It's a roguelite, so
Yes.
the hard runs are the runs where you don't get good items, and the easy runs are the runs where you do get good items, and that's
I,
just how roguelites are.
I will
So,
say, real quick, the main gripe with Returnal was there were no save states. You could not stop in the middle of the run. That's what was the most
right.
frustrating thing for players. And
But
I,
that wasn't
I
really
can,
like a difficulty thing.
yeah,
Although
but
I
that
do agree that
Yeah,
sucked.
that
But
was that was the main frustration because then people who weren't necessarily as good or had to take slower time, they couldn't stop when required. Now people got around that by putting it into rest mode, but then sometimes that could cause your PlayStation to have issues back in the day. Uh, but yeah,
right. No, I didn't find Returnal to be particularly difficult. So when I saw I've kind of avoided some of the Saros stuff, but when I saw that, it basically, yeah, your description is right. It seems like Returnal with a few more options for people that want it, and that's great. But it
yeah,
also very much just seems like Returnal.
yeah, and they have like second chance revive mechanics, which is very like Sekiro. Like obviously you
Yeah.
could, which was you know, I feel like no one ever talks about like people talk more about Elden Ring's like summons and all that stuff to make it quote unquote easier for players. Like do y'all remember how you could just revive in Sekiro, man? Does no one remember? like like I was like that was like a huge you know like change for the franchise. But yeah, they have like that and they have something called Carcosan modifiers, apparently a bunch of toggleable options to decrease or increase the challenge of the world. I like the idea that you can also turn them on to increase the difficulty because typically in games that you do that, you get benefits for having that increase. Like, how it is for most games. It's like, oh, you playing hard, the enemies have 10%, they do 10% more damage, they have 10% more HP, but you get 25% more XP. There's usually like this nice trade-off. So I'll be curious to see what it does there. But yeah, I didn't look too much into the early reviews, but yeah, it sounds like they're definitely doing some I guess you can call them quality of life things for players based on feedback from Eternal. And then the other bit of news, I saw Dying Light, The Beast, which is the sequel to Dying Light 2, is kind of like the smaller game. It's not DLC, but the little edition where you come back as Kyle Crane. They have a new update that came out called Restored Lands, which essentially has a bunch of these modifiers you can do, but also it makes the world like just fully open and perpetual. So like if you kill zombies in an area, they're gone for good. They don't respawn. But that does mean that resource collection is a little tougher as a result of that. So I thought that was pretty. It's just a totally free upgrade that they gave to the game. Just hey, here you go. Here's a big old brand new way to play the game, and you get it for free. And the game's also on sale right now. I think it's 25% off. I've been meaning to play that, but I got to get to it at some point. I thought that was cool. I like when games give like. There was another game that I feel like just had a new update, but I was like, well, I'm not going to go back and play it. But I think it had. I know like Frostpunk 2 has been getting a lot of updates as well, but I haven't gone back. What was the game that just came out that had a new? God damn, it's got to be in my Steam library. I didn't tag it in the news, but it also had.
Eh?
There was some. I'll look it up on maybe hopefully I can find it. But there was a game like it just had like a new. I don't know if it's like a permadeath or some kind of new mode you can play it on. But I
Oh.
I was like, well, I'm not gonna replay like I just beat the game pretty recently, so I was like, oh, I'm not gonna go back and replay this with the new mode. But it was cool that they had kind of done something similar where it's like, oh, here's an entirely new way to play this game. You can go back and replay it. I was like, oh well, if I ever go back and play that game, maybe I'll play that that new way to play it on a replay or something. God, I wish I could remember what it was. Oh well, damn, I can't recall. Let's see, what else did we have from this week? I know that well, that's not really important news. We'll skip past that. What else did I got? Solid prices. Oh, we did have an Xbox partner preview. I didn't really want to cover too much of it because a lot of it was just like DLC for Stalker 2 and like, oh, Hades 2 is finally coming to console. Um, it was just, fine for folks who want to play Hades, but there was nothing like Dispatch coming to Xbox, nothing crazy. But let's see, when is Hades 2. Hades 2 is coming to April 14th to console, so people can play that there. But I did see that Rebellion, the folks behind Atomfall and Sniper Elite, announced a new game called. Oh, guys, cut out the name of this. It's called Alien Deathstorm. It's another first-person game that they're doing, which looks interesting. I watched a trailer for it, and apparently it's like your ship crashes on a planet, and there's like this crazy storm like tearing shit up, and so you got to get out of there. But like, it's an alien planet, so like there's aliens chasing you down and stuff. So I'm not sure exactly if it's like just a survival kind of thing, like not necessarily Alien Isolation style, but you just got to get the hell out of there, and there's like less combat and more running from the alien monster that's coming after you. But it's awesome to see that they have another new IP so quickly after Atomfall, which I think is crazy. 'Cause yeah, typically you don't see that. It's like, oh, we'll try something new and then go back to the thing we're known for. But Atomfall, like that, just came out. When last year? I want to say,
S-
God,
A year or two ago? I mean, it was pretty
February?
recent.
Oh, no, actually, it must have been, yeah, it was in 2025, March. Yeah, March of 20. I was trying to go back and see when I first played it. Yeah, March of 2025. And they just had DLC come out for it in August as well, like which I haven't played yet. The second DLC. And yeah, I guess because it's a smaller game that they just can turn around pretty quick. So maybe this will be another small like 20 hour, maybe 30-hour style game. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it because I'm like, hey, I had fun with Atomfall. I'll play a game where I'm like trying to escape from alien monsters on a crazy planet. That seems kind of pretty fun. But yeah, especially because they are working on because they also released like a smaller. I can't remember if the small Sniper League game that came out was from them directly or a partner studio, but it's like you clearly have the other Sniper League game in the works. So I'm like, all right, you guys are just go for it. And this is what I talk about with my cousin. Like, if this is just a smaller game, like Sony Studios should do more of this. Like, just have a small team make like an indie style game or something tiny to fill gaps.
That's what, oh God, I'm blanking on it, but like that's what the team that just got closed doing the remasters was doing. Like they were doing the smaller games and things. The
Well,
remakes.
Blue
Blue
Point.
Point? Yeah.
Well,
Blue
they had him
Point,
working
yeah.
on that stupid live service game, and I was like, that
I
like
know,
don't
but
do.
I'm like,
They
this is like
sabotage them
that's
basically.
yeah, that's what they were doing was stuff like that.
But you know how like you know how like the big thing now is like PS1 demakes or PS1 style horrors. Like what's that? There's that one game that came out. I forget what it was called, but it was like something circus or something like that. But it was like it's like PS1 style, but it's like a horror game. And then like Bloomhouse has those like 4 games coming out where they're all kind of that PS1, PS2 kind of style. I'm like, can't you just do that? Just get like 20 people at Naughty Dog or Santa Monica or somewhere and just be like, yeah, just make like a retro game, but with capabilities for modern sensibilities and whatnot. Like, just do something silly that quick and small. I mean, that's kind of like what the God of War game was. It Sons of Sparta is, but that's
Oh yeah, the
like
pixel one.
yeah, the Pix one. Like, just do more of that. Like, not everyone's gonna hit, but just do more small games, but with from the studios themselves or something. Do
Mhm.
like a Double Fine situation. Just like pitch like little tiny games and then just make those. Like that'd be dope. But I don't know.
That's
It seems
basically
like
all the indie scene is. It's like, oh,
Mhm.
we'll just make smaller games and the studios make the big games. But it's like the studios can make the small games too, but you can only get small, compact, like like little experiences with indie games now. And so you're never gonna see them with like big IPs and stuff like that. That's why at least for me, that's why the God of War one was so surprising. It was like, oh my god, you made a something unique and compact, and you can play it in like a couple days.
Yeah, yeah. It's a shame they can't just do more of that. Like, is there anybody like foster that within the studio? Like, is any like I'm wondering if back in the day it was like, oh, I go to work, I work on this big game, whatever. But when I go home, I'm working on my own indie game, one
Mhm.
person dev thing, and then they release it later. Like, do people have time to do that anymore or the passion to do that with how like long dev cycles are now? Because I'd be curious, like, could you somehow foster that without the corporate we own the IP bullshit? Like,
I mean, you need good work-life balance to do that, right?
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
that's the
And
problem, right?
and
Yeah.
is that happening
And
nowadays?
and
Mm.
and also none of the stressors outside of work, which is hard to get away from. So it's like,
Yeah.
okay, yeah, it's like maybe I don't have the time to do this. I'm burnt out all over from news and whatnot and just being at work. But Yeah, it's game industry is in a crazy spot right now. Just I don't know, man. It's like continuing to just this attrition, and I wish there was some kind of stat, and like I feel like the only way you could see it is by like scrubbing LinkedIn, but then everybody has to have LinkedIn. It's just like the percentage of people that get cut in a year, like how many of those folks get jobs in the game industry, like recover but working somewhere else. Like, is the game industry as a whole, like the 1,000 people that got fired from Epic, how many of those will find new jobs in the industry, and then how many are just gonna do something else? And can we see that attrition for this industry over time to see like, okay, is it loss and then gain, or is it loss 50%, a lateral move, and then 50% just go away from the games industry and go to like tech, movies, whatever, I don't know. Like, what is that
The
pathway?
time is like, how many of those 1,000 people remain in the games industry but are now contract freelancers with no
Yeah.
health insurance?
Right. Yeah, exactly. Like they're still there, but they're working or they transition to like, kind like you're probably right. That's probably what it is. Like people who leave games media, they're typically they become mock reviewers
Yeah.
and whatnot. And or maybe they'll all become like Andy Weir and who worked at Blizzard and then they wrote The Martian and Project Hail Mary and Artemis and then those become movies. And then it's like, okay, you know, it was all these game devs who go into. I mean, I guess Neil Druckmann
What's
made.
your side passion?
Yeah, what you go ahead and write a book, and maybe Ridley Scott will make a film. Yeah,
Go
but
ahead and write a book that's also a good book that people love, and then also get Matt Damon on board.
and
Problem
no
solved.
one's yeah,
Problem
and then
solved.
how many people are reading books nowadays is the thing too. It's like okay, it's
I'm reading a book.
well, I know, but I feel like like I not to bring up the creator or anything, but like of either franchise, but like I remember what it was like when the new Harry Potter books were coming out, and
Yeah.
like my girlfriend at the time going out to those releases and like the
It was
excitement, like
literally like a culture thing.
yeah, and it's like I just I can't remember and then, like, obviously, the Dan Brown books were kinda that way too, but, like, I feel like when was the last, like, big book
Oh, it's been
series that
ages since anything's been like that.
yeah, and so it's like
I mean,
I just
God, yeah,
yeah.
like Twilight. Uh,
Well,
Mhm.
that was around the
I know,
same
same
time.
time, but like I don't think that like we'll have books that are that big of a cultural phenomenon again for at least a long while. I know there's popular books that came out like that romance fantasy book. I know like the second one and the dragon one. I'm blanking on
Akotar?
what it's called. No, not Avatar.
The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo?
No, Akotar.
No,
That's no, that's like I was gonna say,
no.
that's not a fantasy book.
Fourth Wing. Fourth Wing.
Oh,
D don't know it.
I
I haven't
know
heard of
that
that,
one was like pretty popular for bookstores because it was like Twilight but with like I think it was dragons.
dragons, you
So
say?
yeah, that was like a little bit popular, but I mean, you're talking
Bad
about
Dragon.
order of magnitudes of difference between like things like that and Harry Potter or even
Yeah, yeah.
Twilight.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
feel like now what I see a lot is the trend is like, "Oh, there's a new movie that's reviewing well, and it was based on a book," and then people go back and read the book that it's based on,
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
what I see more of. Yeah, like, 'cause, the only place I ever hear about books was on the Anthony Jeselnik and, the JRVP, Jeselnik Rosenthal Vanity Project podcast, where Anthony Jeselnik would he would talk about books he would get, and then they haven't done their podcast for a while, they stopped it, but he just started doing a monthly book club on, his YouTube channel where, like, he was like, that's the only person I ever heard talk about books was he would like, "Oh, I got a new book from this publisher, and, read this book, yada yada, this and that." And then yeah, just a lot of books. Like, isn't like let me see this one, but I feel like a lot of books now are quickly being adapted to television and movies. But yeah, because I was trying to see if this Yellow Jackets a book first.
I don't even know
The
what that is.
Isli, it's that show on Netflix.
No, I don't think it was a book. I mean, it was
Okay.
Lord of the Flies slash, it's the same as 90 other books, but I don't
Okay.
think it was a
Yeah,
book.
I wasn't. I feel like a lot of TV shows
Should we
now
change
are.
this to a book podcast and I'll talk about what we're reading so we don't feel so bad?
Yeah, there you go.
I'm
Uh,
reading A Drop of Corruption. It's quite good. I know it came out a while ago, but it's quite good.
Yeah, like His and Hers is a TV show on Netflix that came out with John Bernthal and Tessa Thompson, and like that's based on a novel. So it's like I feel like a lot of stuff it's like that comes out. It's and that a novel that came out in 2020, and it's a thing on Netflix in 2026. Like the turnaround for like novel to adaptation is really quick nowadays. I feel like, but I also never heard of the book. So like, how big did the book become in 2020? And it's COVID, so okay, people maybe are indoors reading more back then. But like, how big are these becoming that are getting people like companies like Netflix to want to do adaptations? Like, who, you know what I mean? Like,
Maybe you just don't
Well,
read, man, because you got 2 kids.
well, yeah, I don't read but anymore, really.
doing
But
adaptations through, like, Amazon and Netflix and stuff is a little easier than, like, getting a full movie studio like Warner Brothers to pick up a book series, and I feel like it's more th the books themselves are not the cultural phenomenon anymore. It's like, uh, Netflix and Amazon and, like, all these smaller
they're
studios and directors and
yeah,
stuff, they're perusing what is
right. They're
well-reviewed or
They're
stuff.
looking for the next big thing. Yeah.
Yeah,
What's big in the book space that we could expand, and make popular to audiences, who don't
yeah,
read, or who, maybe don't have, time or what have you. So it's like, yeah, like you said, they're searching for the next moneymaker on there, and books are just the easy way to do that for adaptations. But
yeah. Because it's like, if you're a screenwriter or if you're a producer or director, it's like, well, the material's already there, you just have to
mhm,
adapt it, so
yeah, exactly.
and then you pay
Yeah.
the author, hopefully, and then you go from there.
Yep. There you go. Uh, and then yeah, the only other thing I had for not necessarily video game related, but Adepticon, which is like the Warhammer convention, big one, is happened this weekend.
Adepticon. I love that name. That's great.
Yeah, is currently going on, and they announced 11th edition of Warhammer 40,000, which will be coming out. They had a CG trailer, announcement trailer for it. The release date is going to be June, and they teased some stuff. And the only reason I had it bookmarked is not just because I'm into Warhammer
Because you're
now.
going.
No,
That's why you
it's
had it
already
bookmarked, because you're
it's
going.
going on. So I'm not going to go to Adepticon. No, I I'm not going to go there and go into paint competition. I'm not going to play. Like they do also do a big tournament there. It's kind of like BlizzCon where they have this stuff and they also have like the tournaments for all their games. It's kind of like they're having the big tournaments going on right now there. I don't know if it's like the finales. Like Blizzard used to be the WCS circuit culminated in the finale at BlizzCon. I don't know if that's how Adepticon works. If it's like multiple tournaments that lead up to it, or if it's just like people just go, it's like its own tournament. But anyways, the reason I bring it up is because it's, I talked about getting into Warhammer and I haven't played it yet, but I watch it and whatnot, and I'm familiar with the rules, but it's, just like with, D&D or I don't know what other games I don't play any other games besides like that. But we talk a lot about how you have an issue where you'll play a game and then they patch it and now the character you liked isn't fun anymore, especially particularly for Borderlands. But it's like, okay, what are they patching in 11th edition? What are they changing for something I haven't even played yet? And because I'm like, okay, now I'm in the spot where like, do I try to play now between now and June? Get a couple games in of 10th so I have the general idea of flow. Then because I was asking at Discord, I was like, okay, well, when 11th comes out, like obviously the tournaments will switch over immediately to 11th. So all your army, your list, the rules will be the 11th edition. But what about the local scene? Not everybody's going to have the 11th edition book with the rule set. And so I'm like, is there a buffer period where like those first couple months people still play, casual games on 10th and only switch to and maybe do some 11th edition as well? Like, what's the crossover? Like when it's during 10th, they have like these new rule sets come out. Like, oh, here's the
I
Pariah
mean,
Nexus mission pack.
if it's
But
like D&D, it's, in the local scene, it's whatever the fuck people want to play. And they don't move, like, there's no grand movement towards the new one. Sometimes that happens like 5 years down the line. But with like the later D&D versions, people get really hung up and stuck on like the one that they learned on. And they just kind of like never move past that.
yeah, well, it'll be like I feel like everybody from what I've seen thus far, they switch almost immediately if they can get like when Pariah Nexus these mission packs come out. It's like okay, here's the new missions are released to kind of be a little more balanced as far as table layout and mission structure, like the objectives you have to do. So it's like people will only switch if they have access to that pack. So usually it's like, hey, I have the Pariah Nexus pack. You can play with me because I have it, and so you don't need like two copies or whatever. So I was like, yeah, do I jump? Because they announced some now. The one thing they are doing, it's kind of like instead of being like a full 1.0 change, it's kind of like a 10.5 in a way where all the codexes, which essentially is the core rule book for an army, is going to carry over. So anything from 10th edition will carry over to 11th, and unless they refresh the codex in 11th edition, which is something they have done, I guess, previously from 8th to 9th. But when they went from 9 to 10, they changed the codex. So it's like, okay, your core army structure, your rules, they change. And so you had to like, start fresh. So this is like, I'm not in like a disadvantageous spot. Like all my army lists that I've been building towards now, what I know as far as what you can make are going to carry over. But there are some small changes to rules that they talked about, which seem it's funny to hear like rule updates for something and be like, even though I've never played it, to be like, oh, that's really cool. Like as strictly a viewer, like there's a mechanic in Warhammer where it's called the charge. It's a phase, and essentially it's like I want to attack Isli's unit. It's 8 inches away. I'm going to charge it. So I have on 2 dice. I have to roll 8 or more to close the gap. So like, okay, I roll. I got a 7. Not good enough. If I have a command point, I can re-roll it if I want and try again just one time. But if I fail, it's like, okay, then the unit I wanted to charge with doesn't do anything. They stop. They're stuck there. And now I obviously, if I did a shooting phase or fight phase, whatever, it's like, okay, but they can't do anything. They changed that now to where it's like, instead of picking a target, you just roll the dice. And then if you roll like a 7, if there's 3 units and 2 of them are like 5 inches and 6 inches away, you can choose like, okay, then since I have a 7, I can charge either of these 2, and now you can do something. It's kind of a way to kind of improve the flow of the game to make it be like, even though you missed the charge that was far, it also incentivizes you to take it because no one's going to take a charge that's like 12 inches because you have to roll 2 6s. That's like, odds of that are low. But you take that chance if there was someone else closer who you can alternatively charge into because you're not committed to charging that 12-inch away unit. So these little changes I think are fun as someone who's only seen it. But yeah, I got to figure out a way like, should I play this before 11th comes out?
Didn't your cousin promise he'd play with you? Didn't he say like if you got 2 armies he would play or something?
Yes, but my thing is like I have sickness where I want my armies to be fully painted. And I do not
It's
want to
called
play
mental
with
illness.
Yeah, I'm down with it, and wah, and I do not want to play with just primed miniatures. I need them to be at least the infantry can be tabletop
And
ready, which is
and how
just
far
considered
away from that are you?
Well, he keeps buying new
well.
models, so
Yes, and I keep swapping which ones I'm painting at the time. If I were to do just my Tyranids, which was my first army, I need to paint. Well, it depends on what size army
Have you
I
finished
run with.
any army yet?
I had well, see, that's the
No.
thing. It's
The
like
answer to that's a no. That's the thing. That's the thing.
it depends on the
if there's an
point value. If I play,
If
well, I'd have to
if you have to
recalculate.
respond with it depends, the answer is actually just no.
I could play 1,000. I could play 1,000 points with Tyranids and have a fully painted army. Would the composition of that army be good? I don't know. But
No.
I have over 1,000 painted. I have some big bugs. I've painted
Have you
2.
considered painting things that will lead towards a good composition army so that you can actually play?
That's what I
That's not
tried
fun.
I tried asking someone where what I wanted to do is I had 2,000 points of which is like the median army that's 1,000, 2,000, 3,000. That's something in 11th they think maybe they'll change to more like a 1,500 to be a little kind of that middle stage. But anyways, I'm like, okay, well I have 2,000 points of Space Marines, of Ultramarines and Tyranids. And I was like, if I give someone my army list, can they pick out a good first time player 1,000 points and then give that to me? And then if that's like, okay, this is a good 1,000-point list, I'll focus on painting those 1,000 points. And someone did that, but they gave me my Space Marines, which was my least painted army at the time. And like all the units that they built a good army out of are so many that I didn't have painted. Like so many of my vehicles are painted for my Space Marines, but not many of my characters. Like I did a big one. I think I put it this way. My chapter master, Marnus Calgar, I painted him. And I have like a bunch of elite units in like various phases, but I need to just do the infantry, which tabletop ready is typically just like 3 primary colors. Usually it's your your main color, which you can just prime, and then like, 2 other colors, which is typically going to be your gun and then the gold trim.
Wait, saying it's tabletop ready. Was there like a rule in Warhammer it has to be painted to count?
In tournaments, yes, you have to be tabletop ready. It's an official rule, and I understand that from a tournament standpoint, to where if you're gonna have a tournament to showcase your stuff, you want them to be painted. You don't want people going in there with gray or just primed miniatures, because like it's like okay, and there is a point value associated with that. If you are tabletop ready at the end of the game, you get 10 points towards your victory points. So it incentivizes people to play. And there's like official rules. Again, it's just 3 colors. So it's not a lot. It's just your prime. So like I can prime in blue. There's one. My gun is going to be black, and then you'll have your gold trim. You could do it super easy. But then like obviously I want to do things like small highlights and this and that. Like I getting my Tyranid, my Hormagaunts, my Termagants, my little guys, my battle line guys ready. Super easy. I got those guys ready super fast. They look great, and it's like I contrast paint with those guys, and it's an easy process, and I can batch paint them quickly. And I could do the same for the Ultramarines, but I'm like, I love painting vehicles, and I love painting elite units because there's like way more gold trim and
Can't
they
you just
look
get like
better.
1,000 point miniature? Just like a huge miniature and just paint that.
Yeah, I'll just get a knight. I'll just run the knights that are like ginormous, and I gotta paint this fucking big knight and be like, there, I got 2 units. There we
Just
go.
slam it down on the table, like, got it.
Yeah, I'll just play Imperial Knights, and then
You'll be like that dude that showed up to the Pokemon tournament and he had like a Magikarp or something and he won because he like fucked over. I can't remember what it was, but like there was a Magic or not Magic, a Pokemon card tournament where he just showed up with like the weirdest deck and it was all just like stupid creatures, but he won because his strategy was so dumb.
that yeah.
I'm gonna
Yeah,
I'm gonna pull it up so we know what I'm talking about. You go back to ranting about Warhammer while I find this.
I'll just get 3 of these guys and be like, "Okay, I got 3. That's a 1,000 points. Done." Even though it's not very good composition-wise, but,
Oh my god.
yeah. But and those look fun to paint. I was like, "Oh, I want a knight just as a display model because 'cause I'm like, oh, I love the trim on them.
I wanna put little rhinestones all over them.
There's people that have been painting the Tyranids in more of like, oh, what's the flower? But they're like pink and colorful, and I was like, like, I like when people do or like when they do like the Pokemon style colors for like Space Marines and stuff like that, or
Mhm.
they mod them. It's funny, but yeah, the Adepticon it was funny they showed off like a bunch of new models that are coming for like the end of this edition, which will obviously carry over to the next edition. But like a lot of them were for an army I'm really interested in getting, but they're gonna have like a box for it where it's like these 3 new vehicles, plus another leader tank, and then a unit of guys. And I'm like, oh man, I gotta get this box because I really want to start this army, but I gotta slow my roll because I already have 3 armies now. I can't do anymore. I gotta paint one so I can just get them in. But yeah, I have been making progress on painting my big bugs. I did 2 big bugs this week, so I didn't play anything. And then it was really fun painting those guys. Yeah. Anyways, Warhammer 11th edition coming out in June. Exciting, but it is funny to be into something has real life new versions come out. And I'm like, all right, what's the meta going to be? Even though I haven't played it yet.
Are the things that I have already done now useless?
Yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, obviously they're gonna be useless and you'll never actually play, obviously.
No, I
Oh,
will.
Magic the
I'll
Gathering.
force myself to play with some because I was curious. I was like, I was going to do a poll in the Discord, like, how many of you play with 50% of them battle ready, 70% of them are just primed? How many? Like, I'm always curious because every picture I see from people who share on like Reddit, it's always like they're like, oh, I played my first game of Tyranids. I played my first game of this, and it's like some of them sometimes have a full painted army, but sometimes they're just primed, or like the little guys are, but the big guys are like a work in progress.
What are you
Um,
gonna do if you play and you realize you hate this game? Like that you
I
just absolutely can't stand it and it's a horrible game for you.
because I've watched it a lot, I know I will really enjoy it. I've watched so much. Like Play on Tabletop is a great because they do 40K in 40 minutes.
Okay, but just imagine yourself playing against your cousin and see if you still like it in your head. Like if you
Yes,
play against him, okay.
I know I'm going to enjoy it. Um, it looks really fun.
No,
What I
no
won't enjoy,
hesitation there. That's a good compliment for him.
yeah, what I won't enjoy is if I play against someone who is like blue
Sweaty.
control deck motherfuckers, like
Oh.
that kind of stuff, like bad Magic players who are doing it just to, like they run, like you said, they run that perfect min-maxed army and they just want to win even though it's casual. Like, no, we're not playing a tournament game. We're just playing a casual game. But yeah, again, that's why I like playing on tabletop again. 40K in 40 minutes because like usually like 3 hours to play a 2,000 point game. It's like, and they trim it down to 40 minutes so you can watch really quick. And then Tabletop Tactics is another great Warhammer channel, and I watch a lot of their stuff. So it's I know I'll enjoy it. Anyways, go ahead and move on to what we've been playing. I obviously haven't been playing too much. Like I said, I've just been painting a lot of Warhammer this week. What have you, Isli? What have you been playing?
I've been playing Warhammer.
I
Casual.
doubt it. Did you Space Marine 2 is on PlayStation Extra? Do you have PlayStation Plus Extra?
Yeah, I got the fancy one because I signed up for it once when it was really cheap, and then every year when it renews, I see the email like a week ahead of time, and it's like your subscription's renewing, and then I tell
You
myself I'm
forget.
gonna remember to change it, and then I don't
Yep.
remember to change it
Yeah.
every year.
Yeah.
So I'm still stuck with it, and the same thing happens with Prime for me. So yeah, I can go quick because I haven't been playing anything new. I got kind of burnt out on Resident Evil 9. Didn't make it through the second playthrough on Insanity because it's really not fun, to be honest.
Insane.
Yeah, like it's just really not that fun. And I like hard games. It's just like I don't know. It it needs something else. And I already went on my rants for Resident Evil, so I won't go on my rants again. But yeah, I'm looking for the next game I'm gonna play. I might start up Neo 3 since I really like Neo 1 and 2. And then there's obviously like a few big games coming out in April. Saros is coming out and Hades 2 is coming out. So I might just kind of wait until one of those two since I'm really interested in both of them for PS5.
Yeah, I Hades 1 keeps going on sale on Steam. And I'm like, for pretty cheap too. Like I think is it on sale right now? Let me look. There's a lot of stuff on sale. And we talked about this in Discord. Like it's so annoying. I remember we talked about it last week, but it's like so annoying when it's like 25% off, but it's still $45. I'm like, is that
25% off a $70 game, and then with taxes it's like $60
yeah.
still, and you're just like, was there a sale? I thought there was a sale. Yeah.
Yeah,
Did you
Shinobi
never
Art
play
of
Hades 1?
No, I'm not a roguelike person. I do not care for that. That's why when Returnal came out,
Yeah,
I was like, yeah.
I remember you not liking roguelites. I know you like roguelites when they're in kind of like tactical,
Well,
like
it
not tactical games, but like tactical RPG type games. I'm blanking on what you'd call like Frostpunk or something. Like I know you like that style, but
that's more like city builder and city management. Like I like
yeah,
that kind of stuff. Obviously with, and well, they aren't random in the first one, the major events, but like yeah, I just like the idea of because the roguelike games that were out, years ago, they were very much like I tried what was that one game that came out the guys that are doing the new Castlevania, Dead Cells. Like I tried that to see like, oh, let's see what this is like. And it was okay. Like I liked the way it looked, but like cause I think it might have been part of PlayStation Plus.
yeah. I stopped recommending roguelites to you because I feel like the like two or three huge ones that have come out in the past, I don't know, past decade maybe, you have not cared about at all. Like Dead Cells, I think was like peak like Castlevania slash 2D side scrolling action roguelite. That game was phenomenal. And I remember you kind of just like, it's fine. God, there
Yeah,
was another
like
one too that like was a really big one you didn't love.
I'm sure if I went back to like it could just been like the time of where I was because like I didn't play Balatro when that first came out, but I tried Balatro later, but I didn't try it until I got my fold, my phone, because I was like, oh, I need a game to play on here that will utilize the big screen. What would be a good mobile game? And I was like, you know what? I'll give Balatro a shot. I know it's supposed to be really good, and it's the base of it, like we talked about before. It's skinned in something I know and I like. It's poker with roguelike mechanics attached to it. So I tried it and I love Balatro. I mean, I have 100 hours on PC and then probably, more than that on mobile. Um, but I like Darkest Dungeon, and Darkest Dungeons is basically a roguelike. But I'd never beat it. But I have 40 hours in it. But like I like Darkest Dungeon. Like that's fun. But yeah, and I don't like bullet hells, but Returnal's also a bullet hell. It's just like, oh, here's someone, a AAA roguelike bullet hell, but I would never play something like what's that one game? Bullet. It's a bullet hell. I think bullet's in the name.
Enter the Gungeon.
Enter the Gungeon. There you go. That I wouldn't play that. In like I've seen people play it, but I would never choose to play that. But yeah, like I like Returnal. I'll play Saros, and it's like those are roguelike, But I think I don't know, and I want to go back and like actually try Hades, and see like because again Hades 1 goes on sale on Steam for like it's usually like what $6, $7. Like I was like I might as well just try it, especially because I hear that Hades 2 is like a big improvement over Hades 1. And I'm like, okay, maybe I'll try Hades, and then if I really like it, because that's a cheap investment. I didn't. 'Cause that's another thing. I didn't have a PC back then. I don't think when Hades originally came out in 2020. Or maybe I did. I don't remember when I bought my
I
laptop,
mean,
but
yeah, Hades 1 was like a fantastic game, but I feel like you just need to. I mean, it's kind of interesting because I feel like you play a lot of games where you really like the combat, and that's all that roguelites are about. Is like roguelites are about playing a game where it's hard and you have to particularly enjoy the combat, and there's some level of randomness. But like the ones that I love, I don't like true roguelites. Like I like where there's some level of progression that carries over. So with Hades, it's weapon upgrades and story changes.
mhm,
Returnal also has like weapon upgrades, but like
right,
I like it when
yeah,
there's at least some level of progression that's saved so that there's no such thing as like a wasted run.
yeah. Like I tried Slay the Spire, didn't care. I was like, not for me. But like Bind of Isaac, I would not play that at all. I'd be like, no, I know it's like a classic. Or Spelunky, I wouldn't play like Spelunky. Um,
Did you play Cult of the Lamb?
I played Cult of the Lamb, but I think that also had city management and like,
Yeah.
in it as well. And it was more I guess there was some rogue-ish elements, but I felt
It was
like
like roguelite
yeah,
base
the
builder.
weapons. Yeah, because the
Yeah.
it had very yeah, it was more roguelite,
Yeah.
like you're saying, but because it had the city management, and that's a game I need to go back to. There's been like 1,000 updates to it, like content
And the
wise. I'm like,
DLC.
yeah, and I got to go back and play that because I did really like that, but I should go back and retry Dead Cells and see if I like it now, um, more than I did because that was 2017. I mean, I had a 2-year-old. I think maybe that was when I was already wound down from FF14 at that time. So I don't know what else I would have been playing in 2017.
It's also interesting because like you liked Returnal and it sounds like you're excited for
I love
Saros and all
Returnal.
of
Yeah.
those. I'm like, I'm trying to figure out what the common thread of like which roguelites you enjoy versus which ones you don't.
Well, I think what got me into it there was it was from Sony. It was from Housemarque, who I liked a lot of their games early on. Resogun was really fun for PS4. That zombie one, I'm blanking on the name of. I played that one for a bit. But I was like, hey, here's a genre that I'm not a big fan of. Getting a AAA production from Sony, I'll people seem to love it. I'll give it a shot. And it also had the story elements. I like the setting. I think it was like the atmosphere and everything I like. I mean, we talk about this like with again, I've said it 1,000 times, but with if it's in the like it's in a genre and that was in like the sci-fi genre. And I like if Dead Cells wasn't, a side scrolling, I guess not medieval, but like castle, but if it was like, Cthulhu-esque, I guess maybe I'd like more like Bloodborne and be like, oh, what? But yeah, I don't know. It has to be
Sir, Dead Cells is Cthulhu-esque.
I'm sure it is. I'm
Cosmic
sure it is. Because
horror.
aren't you like a
Sir,
blob that takes over the corpse? Yeah. But
I thought
yeah,
you were
but it's
gonna
like
say if it was like a roguelite set in the Warhammer universe, like Warhammer
well
Survivors.
that's why I'm gonna play Warhammer Survivors. Yeah, if it was like a Warhammer roguelike, which I think is what Bolt Gun is, but I haven't actually played Bolt Gun. But I'll probably play Bolt Gun and Bolt Gun 2. They're like first person pixelated Warhammer games. But yeah, it's just like I think it was just at the time like, I got too many other things to want to try a new genre I've never played before. That just didn't click in at the time. So, like I said, I wonder if Dead Cells is on sale. Let's see. Dead Cells. It is not, but it's 22.50. I'll add it to my wish list. Or maybe I have it on PlayStation? Was it part of PS Plus? Well, I don't have PlayStation Plus anymore, so I don't know if it's one of those ones where you get it and you have it forever. Anyways, so you haven't played anything else. You bounced off Res, and now you're looking for a roguelike game?
Not looking for a roguelike game, but yeah, bounced off Resident Evil 5, and now I'm just kind of waiting for whatever.
Fine.
Well, I guess I am. I'm waiting for 2 roguelites, so yeah, I guess I guess that is what I'm
Yeah.
in the mood for. But I picked up Neo 3 as well. I think the danger with Neo 3 is that's definitely one of those. There, oh my God, there are teens outside of my house driving with 4 doors open. Dear Lord.
They're
Just
gonna
driving
start.
down the road
They're
with
gonna
all
be
4 doors of the car open. I'm gonna hear it
go.
crash in a minute, and I'm gonna be like, "Hold on, gotta go call 911."
Got to ghost ride that whip.
Dear Lord.
Uh,
But yeah, I'm in the game void. You know, I finished RE9, and now I'm looking for whatever that next thing that pulls me in is.
Interesting. It
I need
says
like a
I
good like 5 hour game, like a really solid like 5 to 8 hour game.
play. Did you download? Sorry, I'm looking
Where
for
did
my
you go?
controller because I was leaning away because I'm looking for my PS5 because I'm looking at my PlayStation app. It says download the console for Dead Cells, so I guess it says free, so it must have been part of PlayStation Plus like fully. So now I have it forever, so I'll just download it to my console and try it again. Did you download Exit 8?
Oh, that would no, I didn't. That would be a good one. I could play that for a few hours.
That's short. You'll get that done quick. Did you played Viewfinder, right?
I did play
I
Viewfinder, yeah.
I was trying to think of like a short game to
I
play. Icarus
The
is on
problem is
console.
like I don't. Yeah, I said a short game. I know Icarus is not a short game.
Well, you just run, you do the mission, and you leave.
And then you do it 400 more times. Yeah, you can't trick me into playing Icarus.
Hey, I'm not trying to trick you. If Sons of the Forest would come out on console, and we could play it together. We should play that. But they're
Fucking I
apparently
know. Like I now it's the sunk cost fallacy of like Sons of the Forest of like I've waited so long that I'm just being stubborn about it now, and I'm like I thought it was going to be like a few months until it came out on consoles, and now the fucking third one's going to come out, and they haven't even talked about
Yep.
Sons of the Forest coming out on consoles, and I'm just like, what the fuck happened, guys?
Yeah.
I just want to
I
know
don't
what
know.
the fuck happened with that one, because you're right. I do want to play Sons of the Forest still, and
Yeah, I was watching the buddy of mine, another small streamer, playing it. I was like, man, I wish this would fucking come out.
the worst part is like we talked about playing it on release because we thought that like it was going to happen so fast, and it just like disappeared into the ether. Like I wonder if they're just not going to make it for PlayStation now.
Yeah, I don't know. Space Marine 2 has a short campaign. It's free on PlayStation Plus. You can play that. We can play it co-op.
Space Marine 2. I was actually I was curious if Borderlands would be a good game to get, because I was curious if it had settled down enough from the patches that it wouldn't drive me fucking insane right now. And I was going to ask about that. Like, are you still
I
playing
think.
Borderlands 2? Has it settled down from patches, or is it still in that phase where they nerf everything fun every week?
I mean, I when I went back to it a while ago, solo, I was having fun with it, and I think they just announced, like, or it just released the new, oh my god, what do they call it? Hunter, like the new bounty hunter. Some like kind of like a card wielding gambit style character. So it's pretty good. I'm currently downloading Dead Cells on PlayStation. But yeah, I mean, I have fun with it, and the drop in, drop out multiplayer mechanic. I mean, is like I could easily play with you.
Did
Like
they
if you want to play, I'll hop in there and replay some early stuff.
did they ever add actual like quality of life changes? Because like I know they
I
fucked with like the co-op mechanics to make it so that it was kind of an actual pain in the ass to play co-op because you didn't save progress. And then I know that they like the weapon drops were all screwed up. Like basically they did the
it's
Destiny 2 thing where every quality of life change from Borderlands 3 they removed on launch.
it's fine. Like I didn't have any problems playing with my cousin. Like we like it the loot separate, so like we had no issues playing. Like we had one problem where it was like we were just trying to zone to a new region, and for whatever reason, like it just wouldn't let us zone, so we had to like change the session, like quit and just go back in. Like that was it. And then it does do the thing where like if I join your game and you're new, all of my I think I can't go to my, or can I? I forget if they changed it where like if I can go to fast travel points that you don't have on the map yet, but then you can teleport to me and quickly unlock them. I don't know if I can't remember how that works, but
That
no,
would be
I
dumb.
don't I don't have any crazy problems with it. But maybe wait till that goes on sale or something. Or I'll let you
Well,
remote play
what you're
it.
telling me right now is that I missed the sale because it was on sale like a week ago. So the fact that you're making this comment tells me that it is probably off sale. So it is probably not the game I will get.
Or just buy it physically and then you can return it if you don't like it.
Then I have to go to a store. Dear Lord.
What
Go
you can
outside?
order it
Are you
online.
stupid?
Yeah. What about you, Zai? What have you been playing?
Monster Hunter Stories 3, and I finished it yesterday and I'm really sad about it.
Yeah, it's funny. I saw you post because you had a story on Instagram, and it was just like this art. It was like a cave artwork or something with credits. I'm like, I'm assuming this is Monster Hunter because that's like a monster.
Yeah. I can't remember what the picture was. I think it was the Elder Dragon. But yeah, yeah. I posted it and I was just crying because I was like, I don't want to finish it. I'm still kind of playing it though, because there's obviously still stuff that I can do, and I haven't found all of the Elder Dragons yet, and I want to have a whole little party of Elder Dragons, and then I'll be done with the game. That'll be fun. But
Heck
I'm
yeah,
really sad about it because oh my god, it was so good. It was so much better than the first two games.
that's good.
The only thing I wish is like I wish it had a proper end game. I don't. Well, I guess it's not really spoilers, but it does have a moment where it's like, hey, if you go do this thing, you won't be able to go back. So it kind of gives you that warning, and it does it a couple times actually, where it's like, hey, if you have things that you want to do before you finish the game, go do them. But it does that thing where it's like, oh, if you select a completed save file, it will just plop you back to where you were right before the final fight, instead of like a proper end game where it's like the story is completed, there's no final fight to redo or anything like that, and you get
I'm
like
surprised.
there's
Usually
like
Monster
different things to do.
Hunter is good about like a very comprehensive end game.
Well, the thing about the normal Monster Hunter games is like they're aware that people play those games for the gameplay loop, not necessarily the story. So it's like the story ends and then they have to come up with a lore accurate way for you to continue farming the final boss. So it's like that's kind of what the end game is just like setting that up, and then you just farm monsters for the rest of your life. But with this one it has like, there's what I think is a pretty decent story, and it has like a proper ending, and it doesn't necessarily change like the world or how the world works or anything like that. Like there wouldn't be anything mechanically that wouldn't make sense anymore. But also I know it's not really that big a deal, but it bothers me because there's a character that is in your party and then is not in your party and then is in your party again at the end, and the fact that it plops you before the final fight means that you can't have that person in your party anymore, and I'm mad about it. So that's the only reason I want the proper end game. But otherwise it's just like the end game is just the stuff that you could do before you go beat the story. If you're insane like me and you do all the side quests and you over level. So it's good. It's very, very, very good. I recommend. Even for people who have never played a Monster Hunter, obviously, because it's not the same type of game. It's turn based and it's very like Pokemon rock, paper, scissors type of thing. But it's very good. And the fact that well, you could do it in the other games too, but it wasn't quite as fluid. You can like switch weapon types during your turn. So it's like it doesn't take up a turn to switch your weapon type, or it doesn't take up
Oh
a turn
man,
to switch your monster. So it's like
oh,
when the
that's
battle
so good.
shifts, you're like, yeah, when the battle shifts, you're like, okay, now I need my bow, and now I need my Lagiacrus, because
Dude,
now it's doing things that Vrathos is weak to.
there's nothing worse than Baldur's Gate 3 being like, why don't I have this one weapon equipped? And then you waste a turn in combat to put it
Yeah.
on. Ah, that's
So
so
I
good.
love RPGs that do that. Fantasian did that too. Sea of Stars does that, where it's just kind of like changing the character is not your turn. You change the character and then they take their turn. I fucking love that. So yeah, it adds a lot of I feel like it adds a lot of depth to it too, because it's like, okay, the battle has shifted, and now if you know what the enemy is going to do, if you already know their attack pattern, or if you can predict their attack pattern, because they will sometimes shift. They'll either shift their element depending on what you're fighting, or they will shift the type of attack that they're doing. So it's like if you can anticipate what the shift is going to be, you can change both your weapon and your monster to like take advantage of it. So it's super fun. It's super good. I highly recommend. The story was perfect.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, it's always nice when a game really sticks it the landing all the way
Plus you
through.
can like it has the layered armor system. So you can be pretty, but also have your stats and everything. And then also it allows you to recustomize your character at any point that you want, including changing your gender. So if you want to just
Nice.
if you just want to switch your gender for funsies, that's fun too.
But
Oh,
can you switch your gender mid-combat during the same turn without using up a turn?
That would be so great, because my female hunter looks really, really good with a bow, but my twink hunter looks really, really good with a great sword. So
yeah,
that would
that
be fun.
that That reminded me. That's the game that had the new
We
update
haven't
just come out.
gotten to that technology yet, apparently.
The Division
That's fine.
2.
We're working on it.
Division 2 just updated like a super hardcore mode because they sent
Oh, with the
me
permadeath?
like a permadeath mode. Enemies also like they get killed easier, but you also get hurt more. And I was like, oh, okay, that's kind of cool. Like, if I ever go back to play it, I could try that mode. But they also you reminded me of it because they sent me a survey about the Division, and they asked me like questions about like how important is character customization and what kind of features would you like to see in
Mm,
like, and one of them was that being able to change appearance or, general like immediately, like character type later in the game if I wanted. That was like an inquiry they had. So it's interesting to hear that
mhm.
there's a game that does that currently. I was like, well, that's an interesting question because I was like, does any game actually do that?
I love a
Outside,
game that does that because I don't know, vain, I guess. I don't know. Aesthetics are important.
yeah, because I was trying
The
to think, I
only
was like,
thing oh, go ahead.
I was gonna, like the only thing I think was like outside of like a fan because Fantasia in 14 lets you change race, right?
Unless you completely recustomize your character, but you have to
Yeah,
pay money for it. It's like $10.
yeah,
No,
yeah.
it's
Because
like 5 or $10.
there's no Final Fantasy 11 style stat difference between races in 14, right?
Right.
Yeah, yeah,
There
yeah. Okay.
was in 1.0, but now there's not.
Yeah, and not in Realm Reborn. Yeah, because I was trying to think like
Mhm.
aside from that, I was like, I don't think it, but that like in my mind, like that's like a full on. You could be any different race you want, like because I guess does Withers let you do it in Baldur's Gate 3?
Recustomize your character?
Yeah, like change like completely from male to female, but maybe not your base class. Like,
I
can
don't
you?
know. I
I
only ever used him to reset like skills.
yeah,
That's what he does, right? He's a skill resetter.
Yeah, he's the Divinity Magic Mirror. Man, speaking of Divinity, IGN does these. I like these series where, like devs react to speedruns, and there's like this full-on glitch speedrun for Divinity 2. It was like 11 minutes, and they were just befuddled the whole time because people were just glitching the fuck out of that game. And then they had a
Mhm.
second one, which like here's a glitchless version of it. I think because it was still like 40 minutes, and I'm like, okay, well
Yeah.
you must do something. Maybe you're just not, wall glitching necessarily. You're sequence breaking, but without the glitch. And it was so funny hearing them talk about, wait, what happened there? What happened? Hold on, what's going on there? What's happening? Like they couldn't slow it down. It's like it was so funny. But
There was I can't remember what game it was now, but there was a speed run at a GDQ one time where they had one of the devs on like the commentating couch. And every time
nice.
they did something stupid, he was like, "Yeah, we knew about that, but we just didn't care because like who was gonna find that except for speedrunners?" And then sometimes he would just be like, "The fuck did you just do?"
Yeah,
I love
yeah,
that.
that's funny. Yeah, that is the one thing I do like about GDQ is like people will like explain what they're doing.
Mhm.
Like, I wish that the devs React would have, like, an explanation because, like, it's fine to see and kinda guess, like, okay, it looks like they're using the box to shove them through the wall because of frames, blah, 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 this and that, but, like, sometimes, like, it'd be nice to know, like, what they're doing in other situations, and, that is nice about GDQ. They'll explain, it's like, "Oh, see what they're doing here is they're blah, 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 and it lets
It's
them
always
do
the
this."
glitch where it's like the character doesn't move for 20 seconds and then they're at the end of the game. And she's like, "What did you just do?"
Mhm.
Bunch
Yeah,
of frame perfect inputs that nobody saw.
if you crouch and look northwest while looking down at 45 degrees, your momentum continuously builds up until you look away and you spring your character across the map,
Yeah.
which forces them to load into this area. Yeah.
It's like the glitch in what the first or no, it's in like the first Doom remake, 2000 the 2016 one. The 2016? I don't know, where you like jump up on the rail and then you just kind of like stare at the right spot for a couple seconds and then you jump and you jump to the end of the map.
Yeah.
What happened?
Yeah. It's like, what?
And that's how we
Uh,
got the trophy for beating the first level on nightmare mode.
nice. All right. Well, I guess that'll wrap it up for this one. Hopefully, I'll play something new. Izzy will find a short game to play. I did
It's gonna be a
download.
random game. I always say like I'm gonna wait for these two games, and then the game I come back with is like I actually decided to play Baldur's Gate again, a 9-hour game.
Yeah, I was thinking, I was like, oh, I have until the end of April. I was like, should I finally jump into the Liza P DLC? Because I was watching someone do a first run through of it last night while I was painting Warhammer. And I was like, should I play Liza P's DLC? But can I beat it before Saros comes out? But I'll probably play. I download Dead Cells. I had to re-download that. Download the PS4 version because that's what I had, but they had the free upgrade to the PS5 version. I was like, that's the one I want. I don't think it matters visually because the game's, you know, not a visual powerhouse, so it shouldn't be too much difference. But give me the newer version. So I'll probably play that this week. I don't know if I'll beat it, but I'll play through it and maybe get an updated opinion on it. All right, well, that'll go ahead and do it for this week. So thank you all for tuning in. Thank you, Isli. Thank you, Zai, for joining.
Yep.
Mhm.
We'll see you all next time.
Bye.